Welcome to Film Phreeks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
Eddie Williams.
And here is an audio review of a film that came out in 2017 that was very limited in theaters, but finally that's finally gotten more that came out that we actually are just now gotten to a chance to watch. And because we're the time where they're recording this, we have still about a month left until the Oscars come out. So basically, what we're doing is we're picking up on some films that we missed that we're trying to catch up with. So here's one of the films that I actually was looking forward to, called I, Tonya, which is directed by Craig Gillespie, I believe that's his name. The same director who did actually the Fright Night remake and $1 Million Arm and Mr. Woodcock. This is based on this film stars Margot Robbie, Allison Janney, Sebastian Stan, Julianne Nicholson, and so on. And this is actually based on the true life story of the figure skater named Tonya Harding, who basically was a figure skater who wanted to fulfill her dreams into becoming, one of the best skaters in the league and stuff. And the film chronicles her life up until the 1994 incident that happened to where her rival Nancy Kerrigan got attacked. And this film is basically centered in a kind of a mockumentary type format, to where, the film deals with interviews of them, years later, discussing the details of Tonya's life. And the film is set in Portland, Oregon, and I gotta tell you, now here's some backstory for you. I gotta tell you, this film I actually got very interested because I'm not really I don't really know a lot about figure skating too much, because I haven't seen a lot of films with them. But
beside Blade of Glory and a couple of Disney ones, I really don't think they do much figure skating movies.
No, but this one kind of got me curious because I'm starting to really grow really fondly of Margot Robbie, and I pretty much have become watching. I've been watching so many films with her in it, so it's become like a tradition of me watching a film with hers. And I just kind of like the overall premise, because in a way, it's kind of like the equivalent of that movie, The Fighter. Remember how you described, how basically that film dealt with, it was more or less, it was a sports film, but it was more like the personal life that was dealing with the person involved with the sport. And that's what this film did.
And generally, both of them had premises where their families were actually scumbags.
Yeah, so this one kind of had a feeling like that movie, too. That kind of go for it.
Yeah. And I remember when the events happened. A lot of people probably don't, but this is way back in the early 90s. And
I was 2 years old when that happened.
Yeah, 2 years old. And I remember when this happened, actually, I think that the events took place in 92, right?
No, well, the actual attack took place in 94.
So 94. Yeah, I remember whenever that happened, man. It was a big deal. And it's funny because it actually is around not too far before, and a couple years later would happen, the O.J. Simpson trials.
Yeah.
Which is funny because there's a little hint there, but I mean, that's not spoiling anything of the movie, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah. And
she had that thing.
Yeah, and I gotta honestly say that after watching this film, I actually can honestly say I actually thought it was very fascinating. Now, I would say that this is probably one of the few. I'm sorry, what?
It was a pretty fun, good movie.
Yeah, because this film actually, I think in a way, it's almost like the equivalent. Like, he took basically the story kind of similar to The Fighter. It makes a little bit maybe with Pain and Gain, a little bit in that regard.
Yeah, I can see.
Because to get my pros out of the way, I can honestly say, to get my pros out of the way, I love all the performances in this, and I really think that both Margot Robbie and Allison Janney really deserved a lot of their Oscar nominations, because Margot Robbie I found such a great actress to begin with, and I think this is probably my second favorite performance of hers after Wolf of Wall Street.
I liked both of them too. Everybody did a phenomenal job in the cast. Obviously, Margot Robbie, she was a good choice to play Tonya Harding. I thought she looked the part, and she acted the part very well of what I remember what Tonya Harding is. How she talks and how she acts, and she actually looked just like her. They made her look like a butch woman, kind of 90s bush woman look, and they did really good on that. The mom had me laughing. She was hilarious.
Yeah, Lavana Golden, who is Allison Janney's character. She's the mother. She's the abusive mother to Tonya in this film, and man, all the shit that Tonya goes through this movie is like so devastating, because you really side a lot with Tonya, but you really feel bad for her because she goes through so much hell with not only with her mother, but eventually down the line when she meets her future husband, played by Sebastian Stan, who, if you may remember, he played Bucky off of Captain America.
That's what he looked familiar.
Yeah.
And yeah, he looked just. I was like, who was that guy? And now that, and not only that, I do want to bring up is the young Tonya Harding is the girl that played in Gift.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you telling me about her.
Yeah, she's a good actress, and I think she's gonna be something like, as she gets older, she's gonna be like a big time actress as she gets old, grows up, because I was really impressed with her in Gifted. She was really good, and she knows how to show emotions at such a young age.
Right. Yeah, she really did, and plus, with the storyline itself too, I love the way that the film is building a lot with Tonya growing up and everything, because she started out when she was only 4 years old getting into figure skating, and the film is dealing with a lot of her going through a lot of trying to strive to become a really great figure skater, and we really see a lot of the shit that she goes through.
She's going through a lot of she's like your sadly typical American family back in those times, big in the 90s too, still big today. You got the drunk mom, she beat on her, and and smacked around. She kind of plays like the hard mom, saying, "I'm only doing it so I can toughen you up." And her dad, who pretty much disappeared, out of her life.
Yeah, pretty much after
he was gone.
Yeah,
and then her dealing up where she meets kind of I couldn't tell if he was actually an older man, because there was that scene where she was kind of young, and I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be playing an 18, 19-year-old. But anyways, the relationship she gets in with him, and it shows pretty much the abuse he does to her, because he's a fucking ass.
He is, yeah. Jeff Gillooly, the guy who played the Sebastian Stan who plays him, this character starts out basically as, like the everyday, kind of sweet and kind of, wanted to be an all-around gentleman to her and everything. But man, much like her mother, he pretty much can't put up with a lot of Tonya's shit, and so he basically starts beating the hell out of her after some time, and this is.
Well, did you notice that the mom and him have something in common? They both fucking drink heavily.
Yeah, pretty much, and not just that, but what I also appreciate with the movie too is that we also the way that the story unbuilds with both. With Tonya having to uncover or trying to fulfill her dream and everything, it's actually, I think, it's still a timeless type of story, because I like stories where they're the underdog, where they want to try to, like how in Rocky and all those other sports movies where they try to start out kind of hard, trying to get where they need to be, but then they build their way up. That actually happens throughout this movie too, where it's her rise in fame to become one of the greatest figure skaters, and then it leads to her downfall. It's become a cliche with a lot of other sports type of movies, but I still think it works in this regard, because it still carries it to where you're not really focused too much on the figure skating as you are with the character of Tonya herself.
Unlike where you get what I really praise about this, unlike the other movies that kind of have a happy ending, this one technically does it.
Yeah, this one.
I mean, it's kind of hard. Like, we can't really spoil the film for you guys, because if you knew what really happened in the events, there's really not a happy ending to it.
Yeah, we won't.
I mean, everybody pretty much knows.
Yeah, we'll kind of leave it out there. We won't say what happens, but let's just say that it pretty much is, something that you're not going to expect to see, like it's not gonna, like you see like those other films where they have like the big, applause, so to speak.
You know what another movie? I'm starting to see a new cliche in films, and another film. I'm about to bring this up here in a second. With the way that this movie is mockumentary with them talking, through interviews and stuff. We're seeing a lot of films doing that lately, like American Made.
Yeah.
One.
And and also I was going to bring up, there's another film that's similar to that too. This film kind of reminds me a little bit, because here, that's another pro I have. I love the direction of this movie. I like the way that the characters are talking to the camera through interviews and stuff, but they're also talking to the audience, like pretty much breaking the fourth wall. And it's kind of like they do in Pain and Gain. The only difference is that while in Pain and Gain they do like narration voiceovers, this one it's like you took the narration voiceovers, and you put it to where they're talking directly to the camera. And and it also reminds me of another film that Clint Eastwood did called Jersey Boys, where they did the same thing, where they're looking directly to the camera, telling you about the story that's happening. So I actually really enjoy that, because I think it's a really good, I like the way it's...
that's something you don't really see much, so that was a good, actually nice difference.
Yeah. And not just that, but one of my other biggest praise with this movie is I love the soundtrack in this. Like, to me, hearing all the classic 70s and 80s tunes and stuff throughout this movie, like, you got ZZ Top, you got Foreigner, you got Fleetwood Mac, and this is get this, I'll say this. This is the second time I've heard that song, The Chain, by Fleetwood Mac on here, ever since Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, it's funny because we're getting a lot of these movies bringing up those old school, 80s, 70s soundtrack again. We had Baby Driver, we had Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I think we had even Thor, Ragnarok did some of it like that.
Yeah.
We got this movie. We had a lot of movies.
American Made.
Classic as American Made. I mean, I can keep going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, not just that, but I like the way it kept in line with the themes of the film, too, with that. Like, for example, they would have the song, what was it? It was a song by Foreigner where, whatever it is, it goes in line with the situation that's happening as well, that I really love. Not just that, but the film has a really great sense of humor to it as well, because even though it's telling a very touching story about how, fame and fortune can breed to your downfall, it also has some really funny moments where basically through all both Margot Robbie and Allison Janney, like, they cracked me up this entire film, like them bickering with each other back and forth, and then when Margot Robbie is when Tonya puts through so much shit with her husband that every time he tries to call her, she says, "I said fuck you," and then she hangs up.
Yeah, I also enjoyed the some other side casts, like the part where the guys are pretty much getting ready to do the deal, what's going to happen to the girl she goes against.
Yeah.
And you have, like, the fat dude that follows what's-his-face around.
Yeah.
And then I also thought that Italian, like, dude that's doing, like, mockumentary talking. Like,
yeah.
He's, like, the dude that did the newspapers. That dude kind of cracked me up a little bit on some of the shit he said.
Yeah, he did. So this film kept me going through the end, and I kind of wish it went a long ways, like, it actually went longer and stuff, because this is now where I kind of get to a couple cons I have, and that's mainly, the first thing being is, at the beginning of the film, when we're introducing Tonya and her, growing up and everything, there's a point to where the film kind of loses, it kind of has like a editing kind of like flaw, where after she has like her first gig where she's doing her figure skating and stuff, she pretty much quits for a while, and then she doesn't come back until, like, I think 4 years later or something. I think it's like 91, 92 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the film...
Yeah, like you're saying, that kind of, like, was my con, too, where, first of all, they kind of rushed into skipping ahead and not really needing that little girl much. They kind of skipped to Margaret Robert, like, really speed it up. And when they did, the editing, my issue with a little bit of the scenes was, I felt like, she's like at a, you kind of get the story where she's at the very beginning of the, like, the figure skating competition in her town. And then, like you said, like, the editing between quitting and then coming back, and then it feels like it skipped some odd years later to where she's actually went to the next level.
Yeah, it felt like we were missing a little bit of the story that could have at least added more. Now, I don't know how the story went exactly in real life, how that happened, because I'm sure that there's some differences, what happened in real life and stuff. But I felt like maybe they could have at least added a scene that at least would have filled in that gap. Because we went from her quitting for a while and then coming back, like, I think, like, where she's now at the top of her, like in one of her next leagues or something. And
yeah, it's like she went up like a notch. Like, it's like, okay, where was that part where you had to get to that point that you got promoted? You were only getting, you couldn't even get past your local one. You were like getting booed off and getting like hated, and then you quit, and then you gave up, and then you kind of come back, and then you pretty much got in a fight with your teacher and all that, and basically you're already in the next fucking level with this one new chick, this new coach, and that coach didn't even last long.
Yeah,
the new one. I'm like, this is like kind of like, even though I'm really enjoying the film, it does feel like it's really choppy.
Yeah. Now, another issue I did kind of have, my thing was, while I do appreciate the way the film went with telling Tonya's story and everything, with her rise in fame, I did kind of feel like, because throughout the film, Tonya is mentioning several times that her rival is Nancy Kerrigan, and the only mention we really get necessarily of like the relationship with her is that them two were pretty much like roommates or in college or something. Or like that, or no, not college, in high schools or something like that. Like they hung out one time.
Yeah, that's the problem right there. There was like no mention throughout the whole story, and then it just comes abruptly in the middle of another story and says, "Oh yeah, let me tell you something about Nancy, since you guys want to know if we were friends and all that." And it shows like a 2-second scene of them like kind of getting drunk, and then basically it comes back, and we really don't even know anything about Nancy until like the split 2-minute incident, and that was it. It was like,
I know,
that's a big deal, though.
I know, I felt like they could have at least established more with that character, because the film it doesn't just focus just on Tonya. There are other characters that they also set up plot points with too in the film that they spend on, like some of the side characters, like his friend, like the husband's friend, and you have like some of the guys that he hires. But I felt like they could have at least established more story with Nancy. In fact, she's actually the only one who I guess didn't do the. She was the only one that didn't do any of the interviews either. But, maybe that's how it was in real life, too. I don't know. But it makes you wonder if they could have added more story to it,
Yeah, I figured there was a little bit, even though it could have went down the way we don't know, I still feel like there's more to why she chose Nancy Kerrigan and nobody else. I mean, it might have mentioned it in the film, out of word, out of text, but I felt like it should have explained and showed more detail.
Yeah. But besides that, those were like really my only only cons I did have with the movie. Because other than that, honestly,
I do want to mention a con you're not going to mention here because you didn't see it. I saw the beginning part, and it didn't really affect me throughout the whole film because it got better in my opinion. The part where when you finally see her at her very first competition, where she's doing it for her local area. She does do the part where she's actually doing the twisted stuff, and you can actually feel like you can actually see the screen moving. It feels like it's a green screen in the back.
Oh, yeah. See, I guess I didn't notice that.
It was very noticeable. I mean, it didn't even take me no time to catch that, but it actually got better. So.
Yeah, but I mean, besides those things, like that was really my only issues I had with the movie. Because other than that, I still highly love this movie, and I think that.
Oh, I don't want to end the review without mentioning this. So whenever they start telling in text about their ending, where they're at today, I was actually really shocked they didn't bring up the how Tonya Harding is known for doing the Smoking Guns World's Dumbest.
Oh, really? I didn't know anything about that.
You never see those shows? The one where it does it has the opening scene where it plays the music and it says World's Dumbest, and they do different categories, and it shows like the microphone glass, and it's like a little tiny brain because it's basically hinting people are retarded on what they're going to show you. It's basically like your funny home videos. It's actually pretty funny. Everybody's seen it. But Tonya Harding's been on that show, narrating and making jokes on that show since fucking 2008, I think. So that's a big deal. But they only hint at the end of the movie that she's a gardener, a landscaper, a business owner. I'm like, she does more than that.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of that title and everything. I guess I never really watched much of it.
Oh, everybody's seen it. It's funny because they do different categories. World's Dumbest, and there will be maybe about drivers, and basically they'll show you like home videos of people doing retarded shit and getting hurt. And
Okay, yeah. If I remember, I think I did watch that at some point.
Yeah. And then it cuts back to like it had Sylvester Stallone's brother on it. Then it has that one redheaded guy. I can't think of his name. Kind of looks like Chuck Norris. Then it has it used to have Eddie Murphy's brother on it, and then it had Tonya Harding, and they would crack jokes making fun of people.
Oh wow! Well,
yeah, it's actually a big show. Everybody's seen it. I'm sure if you look on YouTube, you'll find it. So it's a big deal. I thought they would mention that. They actually do not mention any regulation of that. That's a big deal, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I mean, it doesn't. It's not. I'm not going to give it a con over it. I'm just saying. I'm surprised they didn't bring it up.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I got to probably look that up now that you told me.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because Tonya Harding's got some good jokes that makes me crack. You know, I start laughing.
Yeah.
At some shit she says.
But yeah, overall though, I still highly love this movie a lot, and I'm really glad. I'm really happy for Margot Robbie getting these kind of roles still, because I think she's become one of my favorite actresses now ever since I've seen her. Actually, her first movie that she really did, which was Wolf of Wall Street. So I really think that I really felt like she deserves that Oscar nomination. You know, like I'm glad to see that she's nominated. She might not win, but it's good to see that she's got that. You know, the same thing with Allison Janney. If she wins, that would actually be really cool too. You know.
Yeah.
But overall, with that being said, I'm going to give the film I, Tonya a 9 out of 10. This will definitely be my.
I'm going to give the film I, Tonya an 8 out of 10.
Fair enough. This will be probably my best of list, but if not, if it'll probably be my at least my nominations, my honorable mentions. But until then, I do highly recommend this movie, especially even if you don't like figure skating that much. I think this is probably still a film that people could probably get into, because it's just that they made figure skating actually.
For the men, ignore the whole pink look of the film where you think you're going to go in and you're watching a ladies movie. It's not. It has a lot of like funny shit and raunchy shit to it, so it's for everybody can enjoy it. I know some people look at the damn cover like, oh, this looks like a girl movie. It's not.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun though, and I do highly enjoy it.
Yeah.
So with that too, and for those of you who have also seen I, Tonya, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it, and about the true life story, what happened too. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel, and check out more of our reviews at filmphreaks.com and on SoundCloud as well. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.